Wow, that was actually mad. Brought back some really bad memories. I think we can be open about this topic now that Frank Lampard's not our manager. He should really consider going back being a pundit because honestly, management is not for him.
All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
Welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. We have witnessed an absolute demolition from Spurs against Everton. Everton, obviously away from home, but still, it was mad. It was mad the way they were set up. I mean, we have to be honest now. I feel like this needs to be spoken about. There's too much of these vibes and emotions. Too many people are unable to dissect the legend, the player, away from the manager. Frank Lampard, ladies and gentlemen, is not a manager. I swear to you, he is not a manager. He needs to think about being a pundit. I love it when he was a pundit. Seriously, I loved it. He was a brilliant spokesperson. His views on the game, his knowledge, his vision as a pundit was phenomenal. Some people understand the game, but they're not the greatest teachers. That's fine. I've had that many a times in my life as well. I've seen people that are great in particular subject, let's say maths. They're fantastic students of maths, but they can't teach. They simply cannot teach. Not every, brilliant individual on a particular subject ends up being brilliant at teaching that particular subject. You'll see a lot of times where a particular person who's really good at teaching may not have always been the greatest student. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we just witnessed, how you play with such a high line away from home against a team that is supreme in counterattack. Antonio Conte, one thing he knows how to do best, more than anyone, is be ruthless in counterattack. Be clinical in counterattack. There were times where Frank Lampard was 3v3 against Spurs players. Mad. Against Son, Harry Kane, who's just dropping a bit deeper, and you got Kulusevski. It was crazy. And then people start talking about individual errors. It was so reminiscent of how things were back at Chelsea. Individual errors. It's not. Yes, it's individual errors, but it's a culmination. It's a manifestation. It's a byproduct of the lack of defensive organization, which I'm amazed. What did Frank actually do during that one and a half years, or whatever the case was, 1.5 years, away from the game? There was Matt Law articles saying he's been studying the defensive side of things or the philosophy of Atalanta and so on and so forth. That gave me nightmares. It reminded me of how we were under him, just so open. The midfield was just legs wide open. Just come in and do whatever you want to do. It was mad how Son just dribbled past the midfield. There was no pivot. There was no midfield. And hallelujah, let's have a go at the back three. At this rate, Frank will get relegated. I'm telling you. I think since he took over in the Premier League, 4 losses in the last 5. We'll have a look at the fixtures. And last 3 Premier League games, he hasn't even scored. This is the thing. When Thomas Tuchel took over from Frank Lampard, this particular Chelsea team, there was a lot of fans out there that were blaming players, saying how average they are. As soon as Tuchel came in, these average players, so-called average players, became superstars. Kepa all of a sudden became a very good goalkeeper again. No, he was always a good goalkeeper. Yeah, he had his flaws, but he was never as bad as what it seemed like last season or the season before under Frank Lampard. Antonio Rudiger was getting pushed and shoved to be sold. And now we're in a situation where Antonio Rudiger is world-class and probably one of the best defenders in world football. Jorginho as well, Kovacic as well, Marcos Alonso. Ladies and gentlemen, for me, Frank Lampard is simply not a manager. It's mad how so many people compared when Xavi was selected for Barcelona, and they compared the situation with Frank Lampard that, Barcelona is going down that whole emotional and vibes route and it's not going to end well. This is what I've always said. Think before you speak. Research, check things out. Xavi, what he's doing at Barcelona, don't kid yourself one bit and compare that with Frank Lampard. Have a look at Xavi's tactical know-how. Have a look at how he defends with the ball. Have a look at how he progresses ball from defense to offense. Have a look at how Xavi talks about creating space. It's night and day, ladies and gentlemen. Xavi's Barcelona, I'm telling you, to all the people out there that think that Barcelona is in the mud, they won't be in the mud too long. Because they've got a gaffer that knows how to play the game tactically, knows how to tell his students how to carry that out. Frank wants to play this high-tempo, high-octane style of football without any proper philosophy or policy. He needs to first assess, does he have the ingredients to play that kind of football? Everton Football Club don't have a Virgil van Dijk, don't have an Antonio Rudiger. He needs to understand, you've got Michael Keane, my man. You've got to be a little bit more pragmatic as to how you approach things and then slowly add the, ingredients into the team. It's mad. He will get relegated. I'm pretty certain he's going to get relegated. Let's have a look at some of the things on social media, ladies and gentlemen. Spurs XG 2.87. Nah, it should have been a lot more. Spurs could have scored 8. They missed a lot of chances. And even then it was 5-0. Everton 0.32. Not only you're conceding goals, you can't even score goals. Look at this from Leas. Everton are in a massive trouble. Biggest concern has to be the lack of leadership and the lack of characters who've experienced relegation battles. You've got guys like Alan, Donny van der Beek, Gomez, Dele Alli, who are used to European nights. They didn't sign up for this dogfight. Look at what Everton's got coming up. Wolves, Newcastle United, West Ham, and forget it. I can't see how they... Honestly, maybe against Wolves. Wolves are in a bit of an issue at the moment. I can't see them beating Newcastle. I think Newcastle is going to pump them. West Ham will pump them as well, away from home. Man United at home, that could be a bit of a battle. But the way Everton has been playing under Frank Lampard, and Frank Lampard, if you remember, the way we played against Man United, we opened our legs up for them. They're going to get slapped away to Liverpool. They're probably going to get some points against us, knowing us, what we do. And by the time they play us, I think they're going to be in the mud. They're seriously going to be in the mud. Tottenham record the biggest league win against Everton since a 10-4 victory in October 1958. Everton failed to have a shot on target for the second time in the Premier League this season, both in the last 2 away games, 5-0. Lampard should never have taken the job over halfway through the season. One look at the fixture list and the league position was a red flag. I don't get when Lampard spent most of the time last season talking about lack of pre-season. Yeah, I'm a bit amazed that he always talks about pre-season. He took over a team that was in tatters. I can't believe he actually took that job opportunity. In all honesty, Frank should have started from Championship again. He was struggling in the Championship. It was all vibes with Derby. Honestly. He should have gone away to the Scottish League just the way Gerrard did. Learn his trades. Learn how to defend, my man. Learn how to defend. Rory Jennings witnessed this at Chelsea. Complained when Frank lost his job. Publicly decried Tuchel before he even joined, changed his mind after 6 weeks, celebrated the Champions League Tuchel won, and still reached the conclusion that Roman made the wrong. It's mad about Rory Jennings. Images that preceded unfortunate events. This was tweeted not that long ago. Following his Chelsea departure, Frank Lampard has spent his time studying as many games styles as possible, including watching Atalanta, speaking with leading managers, coaches, players in front. Don't know what you've learned, my man. I keep saying, you're not a manager, man. You should be a pundit. You're a very good pundit. I swear to you, management's not for everyone. And that's fine. It's okay. This is mad. This is what I tweeted out, ladies and gentlemen. This is mad how Frank Lampard has set up against Conte's supreme counter-attacking team. This Everton team will be relegated under him as they are way too open. Reminds me of Chelsea days. I sincerely think Frank Lampard should be a pundit. Management isn't for him. Seriously, management isn't for him. Transfer news. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Frank Lampard is a terrible manager. Why play a high line and press on the edge of the box if you're just going to aimlessly loft it forward every time you win it? Makes no sense, and they've been done in behind a few times as well. It's to all the people that didn't watch the match, please go and watch the match. I've never seen such naive defensive structure. It was calamitous. It really was calamitous. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the fixture list. Frank came in on this particular fixture, FA Cup, 4-1, great victory. Since then, Newcastle beat them 3-1. Frank always knows how to beat Leeds United and Bielsa. That's one thing he always has up his locker. 3-0. Southampton beat them 2-0. Man City 1-0. Yeah, they defended well. Fair enough. And they probably should have got something out of that if it wasn't for VAR, who ended up saying sorry to him. FA Cup 2-0. Spurs 5-0. So 1, 2, 3, 4 Premier League losses out of 5 since Frank Lampard took over. That's crazy. That's crazy. Talk about new manager bounce. How about no bounce? And as you can see, the fixtures that are coming up, ladies and gentlemen, we need to conclude the fact that for certain individuals, it's just not it. Management is just not for Frank Lampard. And I said it when he was sacked. And in fact, even before he was getting sacked, I knew it inside me that this is not a manager. He may be a good motivator. He may be a very good motivator. He may be someone who can sell a good product the way we've enticed players to come into our team in the likes of Kai Havertz, Hakim Ziyech, Timo Werner, so on and so forth, Thiago Silva. But he's not someone who's tactically apt to run a top-range football club. And if that's the case, he needs to start from base level. He needs to learn the fundamentals. He may be someone who understands the game because he was a legend of the game, no doubt about it. But teaching is not for him, man. Teaching, coaching, it ain't for him. Honestly, if he gets Everton relegated, that's the end of his managerial career for me. I don't know how he can ever come back and coach a big team in the Premier League if he gets Everton relegated. Yeah, Everton was already in a mess, but what he's doing now, the way he's setting up, that's naive. That is naive, and that's an understatement, honestly, ladies and gentlemen.